The Giga press is a machine that is changing the automotive industry forever. Tesla was the first company that leveraged gigascale die casting to hack the manufacturing process, and this has allowed them to not only build more cars for less money, but it's also enabled radical new vehicle designs that we've only just begun to realize. The competition is catching on, though. The Giga press is about to go mainstream, and Tesla will have to push the technology further than ever before to maintain their lead. The stakes are higher than ever for the Giga press in 2024. In a recent interview with Monroe Live, Tesla engineers revealed something very important about how the company uses their GigaPress machines. Lars Moravi is the vice president of vehicle engineering at Tesla. He's been with the company for over 13 years, so you're looking at one of the most knowledgeable people on the planet when it comes to building electric cars. And Lars pointed out a secret behind the Giga casting that even Tesla's competition hasn't realized yet. It's all about the flow. If we look at this Cybertruck front casting, the first thing you'll notice is that it is really big, but more specifically, we want to take a look at these long sweeping metal ridges. What does that pattern and shape remind you of? This is a river delta, a naturally occurring geological pattern that is created by flowing water. This same pattern is repeated all over the world. This is what it looks like when water follows the path of least resistance. And now back to our Cybertruck casting. This is what it looks like when flowing liquid metal is given the most efficient path to move through a die casting mold. What Lars points out is that if you put a trained engineer alone in a room and have them design an automotive casting, they are going to create a lot of triangles and trusses and mathematically correct shapes, and in theory, that design will render a very strong and sound component. But in the actual practice of die casting, those rigid shapes create bottlenecks that prevent the liquid metal from achieving the most optimized flow through the mold. This is why Tesla uses first principles thinking. You have to throw out everything that you know about automotive design and approach this problem from the ground up. If we are trying to cast a very large component very quickly using liquid metal, then we need to create the most optimal path for that liquid to follow. The answer is not in an engineering textbook. The answer is in nature. It's the river delta. Lars says that this level of innovation is only possible because Tesla designs and manufactures their own die molds in-house. So the company literally has the people who design the castings working in the same room as the people designing the molds, and the two teams can work together to ensure that the entire GigaCast system is working at maximum efficiency. This new design approach is what finally made the Cybertruck possible, and it's going to allow Tesla to continue making larger and more complex castings than any other company would even dream to be possible. Something that we are constantly striving for with this channel is education. My number one goal has always been to help you learn something new about the technology that is changing our world. You don't have to be an expert to watch the Tesla space. I'm certainly not an expert myself, and I'm learning right along with you. So I'm constantly in search of free and easy methods to learn more about how science and technology affect the world around us and shape our future. And the best way for me personally to learn new things is by doing hands-on activities. This is why I've become such a fan of today's sponsor, Brilliant. Brilliant is the best way to learn math, data science, and computer science interactively. More specifically, though, Brilliant is a fun and interactive online platform that is easy to use. Imagine the exact opposite of your high school science textbooks. Brilliant offers thousands of lessons in STEM fields that cover all levels from basics to advanced topics. This is customized content that moves at your own pace, and new lessons are added every month, so you always have something new to learn and explore. I've been learning all about artificial intelligence and neural networks recently, and this is something I've always struggled to really understand the details of, but the visual animations on Brilliant are helping me to get there one lesson at a time. The more you learn about STEM, the closer you get to understanding how technology is changing our world, and I think that's pretty cool, which is why I'm inviting you to give Brilliant a shot. To try everything Brilliant has to offer, free for a full 30 days, visit brilliant.org/theteslaspace or click on the link in the description. The first 200 of you will get 20% off Brilliant's annual premium subscription. Over the past 3 years, Tesla has gradually been scaling up the capabilities of their GigaPress machines. In simple terms, a GigaPress is just a really big injection molding device. You start with a hot liquid material, which in this case is molten aluminum, and then a plunger is used to push that material into a hollow mold. This is your die. The process of forcing viscous liquid metal into a restrictive mold is going to create a lot of internal pressure, and this requires tremendous clamping force to hold the two halves of the die together as it fills with metal. The further the liquid metal has to travel through the mold, the more clamping force is required to hold everything together. This all happens within a fraction of a second. The speed allows molten aluminum to fill every void in the die before the cooling process can begin. With the casting process completed, the material is given a few seconds to solidify before the clamps pull open the die and the finished part is removed. When Tesla first started gigacasting, they were able to forge the entire rear end frame of a Model Y using a casting machine with 6,000 tons of clamping force. The biggest and strongest casting machine in the world at the time, the first GigaPress. This change alone was able to replace hundreds of factory robots and individual components with one machine, making one part. With practice, Tesla was then able to cast the even larger front frame section of the Model Y using the same machine. And with even more practice, Tesla has gone bigger once again with the Cybertruck front end. This is still done using the same 6,000-ton press from the Model Y. This is proof that there's more to the gigacasting process than just raw power. You also need design efficiency. Work smarter, not harder. For this gigantic rear casting that supports the bed of the Cybertruck, Tesla did eventually need more power. This came in the form of an upgraded 9,000-ton GigaPress machine. Even with fluid dynamics on your side, trying to flow metal across this great of a distance is going to require a lot of power to accomplish. The Cybertruck has been another powerful learning experience for Tesla. The fluid dynamics lesson that we talked about earlier being just one example of that, and all signs are pointing towards another upgrade to the gigacasting process still to come, the GigaPress version 2.0. Tesla is currently in the process of designing a brand new vehicle. In many ways, this will be their most revolutionary platform to date, but at the same time, it will be the cheapest car they have ever sold. So how does that work? Well, we know that the next generation vehicle is being built around a manufacturing process. So in the past, Tesla would design a car like the Model 3, and then they would figure out how to build it. This did not work out so well. The next gen approach is to design a manufacturing process that can produce a vehicle for half the cost of a Model 3 and do it in half the time, and then let the end product be determined by the most efficient path through that new production line. One approach that Tesla is said to be considering here is a full body casting process. So in this method, the entire frame of the vehicle from front to back would be forged by one mighty GigaPress machine, supposedly requiring up to 16,000 tons of clamping force to hold it all together under the extreme pressure. In practice, this would replace a small army of robot arms, stamping, and casting machines with one monolithic GigaPress. This is getting closer to Elon Musk's mantra of the machine that builds the machine. This is a patent application that Tesla filed back in 2018. It's Elon's concept for a singular car-building machine titled Multi-Directional Unibody Casting Machine for a Vehicle Frame and Associated Methods. The basic idea here is that raw materials go in and a full vehicle frame comes out. Obviously, the drawing is an oversimplification. You're not going to get wheels and tires and windows from a casting machine, but this is the essence of the GigaPress 2.0. The concept is not so different from how Apple makes their laptops. If you've ever held a MacBook Pro, you know that it doesn't feel like any other laptop on the market. Even blindfolded, you would know instantly that you're holding an Apple computer. And that's because the company manufactures every MacBook frame from a single slab of aluminum. This actually saves the company on assembly cost and makes a superior quality product. Running entirely contrary to the idea of full-body casting is Tesla's unboxed manufacturing process. This information comes directly from Tesla themselves, and it distinctly shows the vehicle being broken up into 3 main chunks: the front and rear castings, plus the structural battery pack. This also looks like a very efficient way to build cars. So, which one is the real manufacturing process for the next generation Tesla? Well, the unboxed presentation was a while back in March 2023 at Tesla's Investor Day, which was one of the company's less successful events. It was informative, but not very exciting. It presented some cool ideas, but gave no specific details. It wasn't particularly well received by investors. So it's possible that the unboxed process was just one of many ideas that Tesla had in mind at the beginning of 2023. Obviously, you're not going to put all your cards on the table in a public presentation, and we know that plans are still changing for the manufacturing of the next-gen vehicle. First, it was going to be built in Mexico, now it's being built in Texas. In an interview at the Cybertruck launch event, Elon Musk said that he is still reviewing new ideas for the next-generation production process on a daily basis. It's also entirely possible that Tesla still didn't believe full-body casting was possible until they had mastered the Cybertruck GigaCast, which could have come after the unboxed concept was pitched. What we do know for sure is that Tesla is still very securely leading the way in automotive die casting, but the competition is beginning to make their move. Or is it? Of all the major international brands, we've seen Toyota make the biggest move towards Giga casting, but they still don't have much to show for it. In June 2023, Toyota released this video to showcase what they call their own Giga casting, and it kind of looks like a Tesla casting, but at the same time, it's not even close. Here are the new Toyota front and rear castings, and here are the equivalent Tesla Model Y castings. The Toyota components are obviously a bit smaller, but they also seem to lack all of the structure that Tesla has built into their casting. The Toyota parts look thinner, they're much smoother, they look flimsy in my opinion. With that being said, Toyota does have a decades-long reputation for making some of the most reliable cars in the world, so I'm not going to sit here and throw any more shade at them. We will just have to see what they eventually come up with. The first GigaCast Toyota vehicle is supposed to be out in 2026, so that's plenty of time. We've also seen reports that Hyundai and Ford have reportedly been testing out their own GigaPress machines made by the same company who supplied Tesla, the Italian Idra Group. Idra has reportedly signed a contract that would deliver 2 of their largest 9,000-ton GigaPress machines to Volvo for a new manufacturing plant in Eastern Europe. Volkswagen is also known to be using a smaller 4,000-ton press for underbody sections of their new Trinity EV platform that will be coming in 2026. This is just more proof that Tesla is easily maintaining their position as the leader and disruptor of the automotive industry. There is so much more to come.